today is a great starting place, right? So Anu is bringing you speakers that are talking about different things and engaging you in different ideas and things that you might be interested in. I'm going to speak specifically to politics and how you can get involved with politics. So your school is the first place, right? Why? Because there's elections at your school as early as in elementary schools. You have class reps, you have people that do announcements, right? And so this is very, very important. Schools are also places that there's clubs. There's the environmental club, there's the civics clubs, there's a debate club, there's clubs for everything. You name it, there's a club for it, right? And even if you think it's not a political club, there's a political aspect to it. So what do I mean by that? You might be in the music club, right? And you might be like, well, that's not political, Thadsha. Like, that doesn't mean anything to me. Well, sometimes, as you may know, you might have to go to the principal, or you might go to the teacher, or you might have to go to your students and say, we need more money to buy more instruments, right? That's a political action. You're asking for money. You're saying there's a problem here. We don't have enough instruments for everybody, or we don't have new instruments. We need the choir to be, stellar. We need to be able to compete. And you're doing that kind of organizing effort. So your school would be the first place for you to go to. The next place is a place called social service sector, right? So those are organizations that are NGOs, and they can be as big as the United Nations, or they can be small as the local food bank in your community. This goes back to my first comment, which is to remember the thing that makes you tick. So if it's women's right, if it's children's right, you find those organizations, see the organizations that do that work. They don't have to be international organizations. There's tons of organizations here in Toronto and across the GTA. Find an organization that you're passionate about and get involved there. Volunteer with them. Find people that could be your mentors, that can nurture you and point you to the right direction. In terms of politics, both the federal and provincial government have something called a PAGE program, and I will send this resource to Anu for you to circulate to them later. Now, keep in mind, none of these resources are available right now because of COVID-19, but for example, the PAGE program is specifically for grade 7 and 8 students. They get selected. There's an application process. I believe we select 150 pages, and then you come to Queen's Park for, I believe, 12 weeks, where you are pages, and you get to be inside Queen's Park. You'll be inside the chamber, and you're doing things like giving water to MPPs and giving them, like notes and things like that. But it's an excellent opportunity for you to get involved, and you can be in grade 7 and 8 to get involved for that, right? And then there's something called Model Parliament. Some of you may have already heard this, and this is for high school students. Again, that happens at Ontario Legislature. Again, I will send this all to Anu so that she can send it to you. And then when you're there in terms of that age category, you can apply those things. And then there's something called OLIP internship. That's for university students. Again, a good way to get involved. But if you can't do those programs, there's a federal election that is probably looming. When I talked to Anu before last year, we were talking about this, that there could be a federal election. There's a provincial election coming up next year, and there's a municipal election coming up next year. Find people that you like in those campaigns and go work for them, right? Volunteer for them. After school, go there, drop flyers for them, make phone calls for them, but that's a way to get involved with politics. What are the skills that you need? You need to be able to listen to what is being told, but you also need to be listening to what is not being told, right? You need to be able to hear things that our people are not telling you either, and find out what that means and figure those things out. Creativity, a big one, right? So for politics, you need to sometimes think of solutions really fast, and you need to be able to think of things really quickly. You might be setting up for a large crowd of, like a big convention that's happening, and all of a sudden, like today, your computer doesn't work, right? So how do you problem solve? Those kind of things. Social and political skills, how to talk to people and what kind of things to say and what kind of things not to say. Multitasking, that's a huge one. You need to be able to do 20 million different things at 20 million different times, and sometimes in 5 different time zones.